Shalom, this is Rabbi Dov Linzer of YCT, and I'd like to talk about the Tein bracha. God, you should give the rain in the right time. In addition, we make Shmona Esrei, the night of December 4th. It's a weekday edition, so this year we make it not December 4th, which is Friday night, but on Saturday night, the night of December 5th. Now, the halacha here is, just so you know the halacha, that if you forget to add this in the right bracha, Barech Aleinu, you can go ahead and add it in Shema Koleinu. If you forget it in Shema Koleinu, you go back to Barech Aleinu. For the first 30 days, if you don't remember if you've added it, you have to go back and add it. We assume that you did your habit, so please pay attention during Shemona Esrei and make sure to add it. Now, why is this bracha linked to a secular date, and why December 4th, the night of December 4th? And the reason for this has to do with why we're making this bracha and what the Gemara says. We make this bracha to pray for the need for rain when Jews were farmers and the agriculture was a very central part of their lives. The Gemara says that in Israel, that was a few weeks after Sukkot. But in Bavel, in Babylon, that was actually 60 days after the Tekufa, 60 days after the autumnal equinox. The autumnal equinox is about September 21st, so that gets us to about November 21st. So November 21st is when they needed rain in Bavel. So why do we say it's December 4th? So the first part of this story is also, who cares why they needed rain in Bavel? The Rosh, 13th century Spain, said that it's not an issue like we paskin like the Babylonian Talmud. It's where you need rain. And in Spain, we need rain much sooner. People were fasting and praying for rain weeks before they were supposed to say Tein Telamatra, and they refused to add Tein Telamatra. They wouldn't make this addition in Shemona Esrei. And the Rosh said, I would screech like a crane, nobody would listen to me, and therefore we continue saying it December 4th, and the only remnant of the Rosh's protest is that if you said it earlier and you needed rain, you don't have to repeat Shemona Esrei. So number one is we say it regardless of where we are. Now, why December 4th? Because this is the difference between the Julian and the Gregorian calendar. The Julian calendar by Julius Caesar around the year 0 understood that there was a need for leap years, 365 and a quarter days. Comes along Pope Gregory in the late 16th century, and he says, actually the year is a little less than 365 and a quarter days. And to make an adjustment, every 400 years, we're going to actually cut 3 days. And what we're going to do is on the century that's divisible by 4, so it should have a leap year, we're actually not going to have a leap year. So in the Julian calendar, you would have February 29th, and in the Gregorian calendar, you're already up to March 1st. However, in a century divisible by 400, we will have a leap year, so it's correcting 3 days every 400 years. 1900, no leap year. 2100, no leap year. The year 2000, we had a leap year. So, from the time of Julius Caesar to the time of Pope Gregory was 1,500 years, 1,600 years. It worked out to be a difference of 10 days. People went to sleep on one day and on, I think it was October 4th, and they woke up the next morning, 10 days later, it was October 15th. This is also, by the way, why the October Revolution in Russia happened in November, because it was Russia did not accept, the eastern part of Europe did not accept the ruling of Pope Gregory. They were Eastern Orthodox, and therefore, until very recently, and therefore when it was October in Russia, it was November Julian calendar. So therefore, November 21st, now we're about 1,600 years after Julius Caesar. That's about a difference of 12 days. About a difference of 2,000 years after Julius Caesar. That's about a difference of 15 days. So November 21st plus 15 gets you to December 4th. It'll be December 5th before a leap year, and by the year 2100, it'll have changed again. So what we see from this is that we are doing 60 days after the autumnal equinox on the Julian calendar, even though we should be doing it, now we understand, on the Gregorian calendar, we should be doing it November 21st. And what we see from this is that even as the world around us has changed, we have continued to hold fast to those old traditions, to those old ways of doing things. So we would say it even when we were no longer in Babylon, based on Babylon. We say it based on the Julian calendar, not based on the Gregorian calendar, even though we realize the Julian calendar is an error. And we say it the way it used to be said. Now, there's something very beautiful about, traditional Judaism, holding on to the ways of the past. But one also assumes that the reason we're doing this is because it's just a technical addition to Shemona Esrei. It really doesn't affect our lives. We're not farmers anymore. We're not praying for rain. If the world had continued like the Rush's case, where people were farmers and needed the rain, we can only imagine that they would have followed the ruling of the Rush and would have started saying this when they actually needed rain where they lived. And I think that this is the challenge that we're facing now. We've lived in a different reality with the coronavirus. God willing, we'll get close to our old reality soon. They found a vaccine, hopefully in a few more months after we can get through the winter. And the question is, are we going to adapt ourselves to that new reality? We have to, of course, hold fast to the past, but are we going to hold so fast that we're still praying like the Julian calendar and not the Gregorian calendar? Or are we going to adopt the principle of the Rush that when things have changed in practice, and it's not just theoretical, we have to adapt appropriately as we're holding fast to the old traditions. So this year we'll be saying it the night of December 4th. We'll continue saying it the night of December 4th until the Jewish people become farmers. But as we begin thinking about the reality we're in and the reality we are coming to, let's think about the position of the Rush and how we both hold fast to the way it was, and we're able also to adapt to the way the world around us has changed. Shabbat Shalom and all the best.